Hey guys, found more time to work on my barrage. I just want to show you a couple of things. First of all, I've watched some YouTube videos. I apologize, I forgot the name of that person, but he mentioned that in order to get more articulation out of your barrage, there are a couple of things you got to do. First of all, the servo mount, the vertical part, kind of binds with the shock tower up front. To me, that's not too big of a concern. I've got a different servo mount coming, but he did mention that on the drive shaft here, this part, it doesn't really go in any further. This part here, where my index finger is. Right, so he suggested that on the inner part, you cut off a quarter inch, half an inch, something like that, so that you get the this is as far as it's gonna go, so you get this extra articulation here, front and back. In order to do that, you gotta drop your transmission case, 4 screws holding it. I think I had to, I wasn't able to drop it until I removed the links here. But you have to drop the whole thing in order to be able to get enough room to pull this out. Hold on a second. Yep. In order to remove the inner shaft from the outer shaft. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut, I don't know, a quarter of an inch, something like that. Actually, I can probably measure it. Grab my caliper here. Just get an approximate measurement of the gap there, 7mm. What's that in inches? Hold on. 0.28 inches. So, yeah, about quarter inch. You want to cut off. So you regain that little lost articulation there. Just a little tip when you're moving, working on this. This thing, the hex extension kept falling off, the pin kept falling off, it's a pain in the butt. I actually trimmed, took out the front shock, I trimmed the bump stop here. Lots of people do that, a little fuel tube in there. Just, take it out and trim it a little bit, so you get less of a bump stop, but then you do get a little bit more shock travel. I just took the piece that I cut off and shoved it in here to keep this hex from sliding out. It was kind of pain in the butt. I was moving this around and the thing kept falling out. Yeah, so let me go set up the camera on the tripod and then start drilling. Got my Dremel here. This part out of the way. Quarter inch. You guys saw my last video building a tire rack. You see that I'm going to use the same technique here. Instead of marking, use a little piece of electrical tape and kind of mark where the cut should stop. It's a bit easier than trying to mark it with a pen or pencil or anything like that. Yep, 1/4 inch. So camera good. Yep. Got me thinking, why am I doing this? I got, oh, where is it? Kind of stupid, right? I just finished my tire rack project. Got one of these things. Why didn't I just use this? Yeah, kind of stupid. I didn't think about using this. This little tool. Bought it for cut some PVC pipes. It should work for any sort of cylinder. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't use this. So that's cut. Remove that electrical tape. Grind it flat a little bit. Yeah, I kind of started cutting, so I don't grind it. Again, now I've got a second use out of my tool. It's well worth $8 I pay for it. Just grind the spot that I cut a little bit, make it smooth on the back. I will use that tool, make a perfect clean cut. I wouldn't have to do this. Okay. Alright. Let's see. Trimmed about, just to show you. Well, I guess I cut out a little bit more than I wanted, but 0.27 inch. That's fine. Just wanna move this back in there. Okay, good. Right, there you go. Got a little more travel now on the drive shaft side. And let's do the same thing on the rear. Except we got the rear tire still in the way. Perfect clean cut. .28. Well, I guess they cut off a little bit more. That's fine. I mean, it's not a big deal. Cut a little bit extra. Again, since it's a perfect cut, I don't even have to grind it. It's already smooth. Shove this back in there. Okay. So, there you go. Quick little mod there. There are plenty of other things I gotta do on this. I am right now filling my shocks. I do the back. People recommend a 40 weight shock oil. I don't have any 40 weight. I have a 35 and 60. I'm gonna go try 60 a little bit. It might be a little bit too much, but I'll see how that drives. If it's too stiff, I go back down to 35. But that's what I'm doing. Again, trim off. Definitely trim your bump stop here. Again, I got a servo mount coming in, so I'll place it. Let's see, what else? People are doing relocation of the shocks. But once I move the shock mount, the servo mount up front, I don't have to worry about that. And this is a servo I'm going to be using. High-tech ECX 645 MG. It's got decent torque for a little guy like this. It's not the quickest, but it'll work. Should work very well for this guy. What else? I also ordered a Hobby Wing 1060 brushed ESC. If you watch my unboxing video, I bought this guy used. It's probably one of the return unit, defective units. The ESC was not working, so that's fine. Paid $18-20 to buy a Hobby Wing 1060 ESC. The motor, I also bought a different motor, a Red Cat RS10 or whatever the rock crawler name is, the mini rock crawler. They have a 390 size brush motor. Got it fairly cheap on eBay. Now the reason why I thought about doing that, I was going to stick with 370, is because at the day I was kind of looking around buying the ESC and shopping for parts for this guy, I realized ECX released at least a promo video of the new version of the Barrage. It's called the Barrage Doomsday. It's got some really fancy Mad Max style body with chevron type of tires. That guy looks great. I think they only jacked the price up for maybe $10. So for the extra $10, it seems to be a very good buy for it. But anyway, they did do some updates on the Doomsday. From what I could see, from a few pictures I could see, they did relocate the shock on the outside, the chassis, instead of sticking it inside, so that you can actually mount a full-size servo. And other notable changes, besides the appearances, the back bumper is aluminum. A couple of things that they changed. The other big thing that I saw was they used a 390 size motor. And that's how I knew that like I said, the transmission, everything looks to be the same as the regular Barrage. So I saw the 390 size motor in there, so I know that it will most likely fit. So for a few dollars, you can buy a Rat Cat brush motor for fairly cheap on eBay. So for a few dollars, so I quickly bought it, and when it comes, I'll see if it'll be able to fit into that little spot there. It should be able to. From the picture I saw, it was very tight, but Horizon Hobby was able to fit the 390 size in there, so it'll give this guy a little bit more power. Other than that, what else am I gonna do? Probably not too much. Like I said, I just want to get this guy up and running. I don't have a lot of experience with crawlers, so I'm not going to do too many mods. And I do some point want to put some sort of, since there's a couple of threaded holes down here at the bottom of the gearbox differential. I mean, sorry. Maybe I'll put a little bit of plastic or something to work as a skid plate, so that these guys don't get caught as you're going over rocks and whatnot, and it'll protect the plastic a little bit. So I'll see if I can find something that to mount onto this. Where there are 3 holes, right? These are symmetric up and down. I don't know. These are just 3 mounting holes here that I can probably mount a plate down here. Alright, so just a quick update. I'm going to keep working on this guy. There's still plenty of work to be done. And I don't expect to be running this guy anytime soon, but it's part of the fun. Just kind of get the truck up and running, set up properly before you start running. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hey guys, just want to give you an update on my Barrage. Still haven't run it yet. There's still things I need to do before I actually go for my first run. So a few things I got here today. Went outside, picked up a couple of twigs out on the lawn there. Kind of want to bunch these together, build myself a little accessory for the truck. I started hacksawing it. It just created a lot of dust, so I went with the same tool that I bought for my PVC pipe. Very easily, I can cut them in very quick. And I picked up some twine here from Home Depot for $2.50, $2.30, very cheap. These are the thinnest one that I could find. Should look fairly scale, right? I cut the branches. The length that I cut them somewhat matches the scale, the thickness of the twine. So I'm going to tie these branches up. And also maybe make some ropes that I can put on the bed of the truck there. So that's that. I already showed you guys a high-tech servo I'm going to put in. Receiver wise, I'm going to go with my my favorite orange RX receiver, so I can use same spectrum transmitter that I've been using for almost all my RCs. And in order to install the full size servo, as I mentioned before, I do have a special servo mount coming in, which will move this forward. But in the meantime, picked up, got the idea from one of the members on YouTube, some nylon spacers from Home Depot. The smallest one I found in my Home Depot was 1/2 inch length. 3/8 outside diameter, and a little bit less than 1/8 inside diameter. Smallest one I could find. Should be fine. So spacers are going to be added here, so this guy will get pushed out a little bit, and it won't be rubbing the springs here, the shocks. And my electronics, my power system came in. Hobby Wing 1060 brushed motor, ESC. These are fairly cheap, under 20 bucks, and they're 60 amps continuous and 380 or 360 amps peak. Spec wise, looks pretty good. Read a pretty good review on it. Then for motor, I am hoping this will fit. This is 390 size brush motor that came from a what am I thinking? Oh, Red Cat RS10 or something like that, crawler. The Doomsday edition of this has a 390 size. That's where I figured that, and 390 should be able to fit without any mods. I mean, looks like it will. It's just a little bit long, which I think will still be fine. I don't think it will interfere or anything there. But I actually might want to run this first. I want to see how fast and how powerful this guy is before I put in the much torqueier motor. This guy is 15 turn motor, and this is a 70 turn brush motor, so it should have a lot more torque. But then again, I want to see how this guy performs first, so I might not put this guy in until do a few runs with the stock brush motor. Yeah, anyway, I'm gonna get this. I wanted to get the servo installed for a while now. I couldn't find anything that that will work, so finally picked these up. So I want to at least put the servos in. Okay, so as I was about to take these out, I noticed actually, the color is white. It's gonna stand out. It will look kind of cheesy. So I actually do have some stuff I could use. I got some M4 on wheel nuts here. They're black, so it won't show up as much. And I noticed that with the wire for this high-tech servo wire coming out on the side, I actually can't push this back too forward because the wire will interfere with the servo mount there. So this is a little bit too long, have an inch for that. So gotta get rid of it. I'm gonna use 2 of the M4 wheel nuts here as spacers. That should give me enough clearance. And I'm gonna do it just like that and see how well it works.